A lot of players in the country playing Division I basketball. Nobody scored more points in one game this year than you. That's the most.
That's crazy. Yeah. More to come for sure.
Yeah, Caitlyn Clark, who?
No, don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that. Much respect there.
Juju Watkins was expected to be the future of women's basketball, a once-in-a-generation talent with the skill, confidence, and determination to take over the game.
Yep. Good. Yep. Bam. Yep. Good. All the way through. Yeah. Good. Nice. Good. Yep. Good. Yep. Front. Good. Yep. Tap. Yep. Right there. Yeah. Those feet. Yep. Tap. Yep. Push. And out. Good. Yep. 1, 2. A bad. And the whole thing you're trying to do is put your head under the rim.
But instead of stepping up, she's caught in controversy, her own struggles driven by jealousy, frustration, and refusal to accept Caitlyn Clark's rise to the top.
You're getting some aerobic fitness in. Good. I need that.
The comparisons were bound to happen. While Clark has been shattering records and changing the game, Watkins has struggled to keep up. Now, instead of being recognized for her talent, she's making news for all the wrong reasons.
Ann Myers, the great Ann Myers, said one thing: enjoy it. Don't lose sight of the fun. Now, it was easy for me to embrace that and grasp that because I didn't have the social media like you do. I didn't have everybody coming out of the woodwork and the tags and the money and everything else and those attraction, and the lights were always bright. And in the back of my mind, I was wondering, and I've always wanted to ask you, is where is your quiet time? Where this is Juju's time.
This is no longer just about basketball, it's about legacy, mindset, and what it truly takes to be great. Watkins' biggest mistake? Letting the comparisons get to her. Instead of using Clark's success as motivation, she let the rivalry take over, allowing emotions to shape her game, her interviews, and ultimately, her image. And in professional sports, perception is everything.
Here, put your head under the rim, and now she can't track you, right? So you got to try to come through your body and the rim. Good, nice.
Why do you say the step? Because you said it twice.
She's working on an in and out step.
Fans, analysts, and even potential sponsors have started to take notice, wondering if Watkins has the mental toughness to handle the pressure. So, what does this mean for her future? Is she really at risk of losing everything she's worked for? Before we break down this shocking story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring you the biggest stories in sports, covering the narratives the mainstream media won't. Now, let's get into it.
Juju, congratulations on a heck of a performance. So much on the line in this rivalry game. What was the mindset you guys brought into this game that allowed you to be successful?
I think teamwork. Everybody scored. Everybody made a positive effect on the game. So
Juju Watkins wasn't just another top prospect. She was the future of women's basketball. Coming out of Los Angeles, she became one of the most dominant high school players in recent memory. At Sierra Canyon High School, she delivered legendary performances, effortlessly scoring 30, 40, and even 50 points in a game. A human highlight reel, she combined elite scoring with natural court vision, making big plays from deep threes to fearless drives and clutch defensive stops. Watkins had it all.
First half, Marshall left alone once again. She's made a house in the paint.
Watkins wasn't just playing basketball, she was dominating it. When it came time to pick a college, every top program in the country wanted her. But she had a bigger vision. Instead of joining an already stacked team, she chose to stay home and lift USC back to greatness. It was an underdog move that only fueled her growing legend, the hometown star reviving a once iconic but struggling program. The expectations were sky high, and for good reason.
Intense physical game down to the very end. What gave your team the edge?
Man, I feel like we're underrated at this point.
Watkins was expected to take center stage and become the face of women's college basketball, following legends like Cheryl Miller and Lisa Leslie. This was supposed to be her moment, the time to prove she was the most dominant player in the game.
You're really trying to challenge me with the class. I like it.
But then Caitlyn Clark happened, and everything changed. Instead of smoothly taking over as the next big star, Watkins found herself chasing a player who was rewriting the record books in real time.
Going up against the South Carolina Machine. Sonano and Saxton to jump it up. And we are underway as South Carolina wins.
Clark wasn't just succeeding, she was changing the game. For the first time in her career, Watkins wasn't the biggest name or the most talked about player. That shift in attention began to take a toll on her. Rather than focusing on improving her own game, she got caught up in the comparisons, something no elite athlete can afford to do.
Well, that tonight.
Here is Clark. She will launch and bury a three.
When she comes off that pin down action, gets her.
There are great players, and then there are players who change the game. Caitlyn Clark is one of those. From the moment she entered college basketball, it was clear she wasn't just another star, she was a phenomenon.
For the secure defensive boards, LSU, an outstanding offensive rebounding team. Clark connects!
Armed with relentless energy, limitless shooting range, and a fierce mentality, Caitlyn Clark didn't just play basketball, she took over games. Watching her hit logo threes with the ease of a warm-up shot became routine. But it wasn't just about scoring. Her ability to control the tempo, facilitate, and dominate the game put her in a league of her own. Clark's success wasn't by chance, it came from an obsession with winning. She carried herself with a swagger that most players only dream of, but it was earned. She worked hard, stayed focused, and performed at an elite level game after game. Every time she hit the court, it felt like a must-watch event, drawing huge TV ratings and filling arenas with fans. She wasn't just excelling in women's basketball, she was forcing mainstream sports media to take notice in ways they never had before. And that's where the problem for Juju Watkins began. Instead of just being another elite player, Clark became the benchmark. Every young star was suddenly compared to her, and every college standout was asked, can they keep up with Caitlyn Clark? That's a lot of pressure for any player, especially someone like Watkins, who had spent years being the most talked about name in her class. It wasn't just about being good anymore, it was about proving she could rival the biggest sensation the sport had seen in years. And when that pressure built up, Watkins didn't channel it into her game, she let it overwhelm her.
I don't know if I've seen a woman college basketball player as polished as Juju Watkins. Stephen A., the way she can put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, Euro step, one leg, three-point shot, mid-range shot, and she can play outstanding defense. She'll sit in the chair. She can block shots. She can slide. Stephen A., she is as polished as a basketball player as that we've seen at the women's level.
Yo, man, we should be talking about her the way we talked about Caitlyn Clark last year. Juju
absolutely.
Juju's special. I'm telling you that right now. She is the package. And she's going to be special.
For Juju Watkins, the downward spiral didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process, fueled by growing pressure, media scrutiny, and her struggle to control the narrative. At first, the comparisons to Caitlyn Clark were just background noise, something every highly touted prospect faces. But as Clark's star grew to astronomical levels, Watkins couldn't escape the conversation. Every game, every interview, and even every social media post seemed to compare her to Clark. Instead of brushing it off and letting her play do the talking, Watkins allowed the frustration to seep into her game, her attitude, and ultimately, her public image.
You're heading to the Sweet 16. You and your team did it. Just tell me the emotions of a first team today.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much on the line, and we know it. But we're still coming out here and playing with the same intensity, with more intensity and just more grit, and we're having fun out here. So, yeah.
Juju, we've talked so much about the dream that...
The first signs of trouble were subtle, a change in her body language during post-game interviews and a sharp, defensive response when asked about Clark's record-breaking performances.
I'm sure somebody asked you about Juju, but what were your thoughts when she went down?
Just sick to my stomach. I didn't watch the video. I can't watch that stuff. It makes me just sick and ill. Devastation, obviously. You just empathize for her because I've been in that position where you have this devastating injury. She had it at a time where it's just the worst timing, and you're playing for a national championship, competing, playing with your team during the season. So you just feel for her.
At first, Watkins refused to engage in the narrative with the grace fans expect from a rising star. But soon, the frustration became impossible to ignore. On the court, there were moments when her emotions got the best of her, missed shots led to visible frustration, defensive lapses that were uncharacteristic, and an overall shift in energy that made it clear something was wrong. In a sport where confidence is key, these small cracks began to look like major fractures.
Well, speaking of DeMar, I spoke to him last night and I said that I was going to be interviewing you this morning, and I asked him to tell me what makes you special. And this is what he said. Okay. He said her hunger and her drive to want to be special, the attention to details, knowledge and preparation she puts into the game. Watched her since she was in the 8th grade, so humble and willing to work, ask questions, carry herself with no ego, but has a killer instinct when it's time to win. She for sure is one of one.
Aw, he's so sweet. He's so sweet.
What is that like hearing that, those just words of affirmation from, I feel like, one of the best we've ever seen?
I mean, that just makes my day, honestly. And for like him saying that as someone who's also from LA and went to SC as well, it just means the world. So shout out DeMar.
Yeah, shout out DeMar.
Then came the viral moments, the turning point where everything shifted. The media thrives on narratives, and when a player seems rattled, the cameras capture every misstep. Every time Clark posted another historic stat, social media flooded with side-by-side comparisons, often highlighting Watkins' struggles in contrast to Clark's dominance.
Basketball, you going up the ladder. Do you want to continue in the entertainment business with acting, or maybe do some music like the girl Flo J got signed to Rock Nation? I don't know. You might want to rap. You know,
I wish I could do what Flau'jae does, if I'm being real. I don't really have bars like that. I would say entertainment